And this is going to be fairly general, and then there's going to be some more very specific topics that we're going to talk to in other sessions. But we are at a beginning of a major shift. If you look back on technology over the last 30 years, I mean, how many people in this room came from kind of the mainframe environment? Okay, from the mainframe environment, when I talk to people about virtualization, I talk to them about big switching environments and kind of what was the heyday. That will say, you know what, we were doing virtualization in the mainframe 30 years ago, right? Big box mentality. Virtualizing a big box had storage, had I/O, had CPU, had memory, and it was really, really easy to manage. The problem was that it cost millions and millions of dollars to get into, right? So what I tell people now is that as you look at where we are in 2000, 2005, 2010, that you can't build networks based on historical data because the world has changed drastically, and it's changed drastically really just in the last 2 to 3 years, and really with the advent of moving virtualization, and I'll use VMware 3.5 as really that catalyst that put virtualization into a production environment. Up until that point, it was pretty much test and demo. Anybody agree with that? How many people are using VMware today? How many people are not using any kind of virtualization in their data centers today? How many people are tired of the term cloud? Yeah, me too. We're going to talk about that though. What's interesting is that the cloud has morphed, and my wife came to me last night and she has her iPhone and she's like, should I back this up to the iCloud? And I'm like, oh my, it's reached that. Have you guys heard about Apple's iCloud? It has reached such an endemic level that my wife, who is the anti-technologist, is starting to do things on the cloud. And again, we can always say, well, Yahoo Mail and Gmail, that's all cloud-based. But when she starts backing things up to the cloud with a push of a button, and she can retrieve it if she ever loses her phone or gets a new phone, that's kind of really the promise of cloud. And what is real interesting is if you look at consolidation and virtualization, a lot of people go, I've consolidated because I virtualized, right? But if you are trying to get to a self-service, self-provisioning, immediate application activity. So if you're an app developer, let's say, and you need a virtual machine to run a test against, you're not going to wait a week or 2 weeks, or you shouldn't have to, because guess what? The Amazons and the Googles, with their online services, are offering that now within minutes. And that's why cloud is becoming such a prominent topic of discussion. What most people will say is, security isn't there yet. I'm not going to the cloud. And you're right. In most applications, from a privatized industry, you're not going to put your mission-critical applications necessarily on the cloud until you feel comfortable with the security. Everybody has a different level of feeling about security. However, when you consolidate and you virtualize, it's not just at the server level anymore. If you're not virtualizing your network, if you're not virtualizing your storage, and you're not starting to look at automation technologies, you're never going to get and be able to offer that true private cloud or even public cloud type offering. And I am here to tell you that Cisco, who has had all types of architectures, we actually just went through a massive consolidation 2 years ago from 48 data centers down to 4. And it used to be that we would provide a virtual machine, or we'd be able to provide services to internal customers to Cisco in that 2 to 4 week time frame. You need a server, you'll get it in 2 to 4 weeks. Because of the transformation, not only from technology that Cisco has, but the technology that our storage providers have and our software providers have, is we can now provision a virtual machine anywhere in the world in 15 minutes. From a service catalog, I, John Washburn, can go into a portal and I could create a virtual machine with a varying amount of storage, varying amount of memory, varying amount of CPU, under certain security requirements that I pick, and from a data center in Allen, Texas, and somewhere in India, I will have a provisioned server at my avail in 15 minutes. It's a service level agreement. It's only internal to Cisco. It's a utility. Cisco's a utility for its own employees. We're not offering this out there, but that's what the cloud providers are now going to start to do as well. My point is that as you look at new technologies, and they come from a wide range of vendors. Let's face it, there's more vendors out there talking about cloud and networking and servers and storage, is that you can't just look at necessarily best of breed. I'm going to take the best of breed here and I'm going to take the best of breed here, because sometimes they don't talk appropriately to one another, right? They don't integrate. Maybe they integrate for what you want to do here and here, but to what you want to do here in the private cloud, public cloud, and hybrid cloud, which is only realistically 2 to 3 to 4 years away, because we're just rapidly getting into the cloud. And when you buy hardware today, how many years do you typically keep it? Hardware. Network switches, 5 years, 6 years. Servers, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Right? It's that depreciation schedule. Well, guess what? Many of you probably have servers in your environment that you bought in 2006. If you bought that server today, if you had 30 servers in 2006, you could replace them with one server today with Intel technology. And you'd actually increase the performance. How many people are running Unix or AIX type applications? Anybody? Just did, Ivy Tech down in Indianapolis took an AIX, a P5 5070, it's an AIX box that they're paying $100,000 of maintenance on per year. They're replacing it with a $10,000 server that costs $500 a year to support. And they bought that 3 years ago, by the way. So all their Oracle database was running on a big, beefy platform that was about the size, a little bit bigger than me, $100,000 of maintenance a year, and they're replacing it by a little blade. And you're getting more performance out of it. So what you need to do is you need to look at architectures that will allow you to get to that next level. Even though it might not be what you want to do today, it's planning for getting to that automation phase and being able to deliver that service capability. Because if you have a data center, you are the utility for somebody. You have customers. So you've got to plan accordingly. What does cloud mean? It means a lot of things to a lot of different people, so I'm not going to go into this, but it starts with virtualization, and then it goes to storage as a service, and application as a service, and platform as a service, and a lot of services that people don't even know what they mean or what they can do with it, right? We don't know what we don't know yet, but there's a lot of architecture out there that says this is what you're going to need. Bottom line is that it's all driven by you, technology, and economics, right? It's Moore's Law, and there's a slide in here that'll show you that. But again, going from mainframe to mini to client server to virtualization, it's a 50-year cycle, and technology really has not changed. If you think about it, the architecture has not changed in this long. It was compute resources connected up. Here's a great slide here, right? Data center 1.0, here's a mainframe, and here's the rapid approach, right? Servers everywhere, application per server. What was great about that? Well, from a Cisco perspective, is that all these needed network connections. This is where Cisco really made a lot of money. The problem is that new technology, actually I take it back, the benefit is new technology allows for less network connectivity and more power to deliver on the applications. So if you look at this, this is $1 million box, and you're running virtual machines, and you've got applications. The problem is when you scale beyond that, you just moved into an entirely new multi-million-dollar platform. That didn't necessarily work great for most people. So what happened? Data Center 2.0, right? I started buying little x86 boxes, and I started putting an application on each one. The problem there is every time you wanted to add one, you added more network connectivity, right? Great for Cisco, but not necessarily great from a management perspective. Right, and you just kept adding applications. Well, now with Data Center 3.0, and Data Center 3.0 in reality came about 2 years ago. And it was 2 years ago when Cisco and Intel and VMware made some real significant announcements in the industry. And really, it was VMware 4.0 and then Intel getting into the Nehalem architecture. Anybody here heard Nehalem before? I never thought I'd be spewing Intel code names. To me, it's ridiculous, right? I mean, they come out with Sandy Bridge and Nehalem, and I never even knew what the previous generation was. But the benefit that they have is that every generation now, it used to be Moore's Law every 18 months, now it's closer to every 8 months, and it's doubling the performance. So the more that you can consolidate, the more virtual machines you can put on a single box, great. The problem is from a network connectivity standpoint and how you connect up to storage and how you provide security to the virtualized machine, which I think Jeff's going to talk about. That's what's key. And that's what you need to look at. And this is that whole architecture approach. I'm going to skip through some of these, but the bottom line is that what we're all looking for is to be able to expand both in and out, right? The example of that is how many people have servers that they know really aren't doing anything, but they're still in their data center? Okay, there's one honest man in this entire room. Same thing with virtual machines. There are virtual machines that people get, and they might use for an hour or a month, but then they don't do anything with it, but it's there, it's a placeholder. What you want to be able to have is a scenario where you can release a machine, both physical and virtual, back into the pool and reassign it to somebody within seconds. That technology is available today. You just have to work with, the NSIs of the world, because they will bring these solutions to you. This is that, technology and economics. You're not going to buy new technology if it doesn't make financial sense. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Well, again, you don't know what you don't know. It depends on what you're trying to get to, not only today, but tomorrow. How many people are looking at VDI solutions, virtual desktops? Has anybody deployed virtual desktops yet? We'll talk about that in the second session. But there is value there, and the technology, if you haven't looked in the last couple months, if you looked 6 months ago, look again, because that's how fast the technology is changing. I've had customers say, we're not looking at VDI, and we looked at it 3 years ago. I'm like, are you kidding me? You're basing financial justification on something that happened 3 years ago? From an IT perspective, that's the Big Bang Theory. I mean, 2 years ago is when you had, the first comet hit the Earth from a technology perspective, and now there's new life, right? We can't go based on that historical data. This is just some quick that I'll just end with. This is the prognosis of where we, as humans, are going from just a technology standpoint and how much data we're actually creating. 2007, 5 exabytes per month. 2010, 21 exabytes per month. 21 exabytes, by the way, is 4.8 billion DVDs crossing the network at any one time. 2013, 12.8 billion DVDs, so 3x the amount. Quite frankly, I was in the storage industry 6 years ago. I got out of it because I just didn't see there was that much growth. Okay, I look at it now and it was ridiculous because costs were coming down and I didn't think that we were going to double it. But look at YouTube. I go to YouTube probably 3 or 4 times a day just to look up how to fix a drain. Well, not just me, just fixing the drain. I'm not a plumber on my off hours. But, rather than look up a book, I'll go to YouTube and say, how to unclog this drain that I can't get stopped right on. And there's a YouTube video on it. Growth of connected devices. This is what's getting me. In 2007, we had a total of 500 million devices, okay, which was the equivalent of 1/10. So 2010, 5 devices per person on it. Okay, now that's, again, these are this is connected devices that are in your car, on airplanes, right? 2013, 7 devices per person on Earth. In 2020, 70 devices per person on Earth. Okay, I have heard that when you get a new joint put into your system, in the future, there's going to be a networked type device, you know, in that new elbow of yours to monitor your health and the health of that. You're going to have multiple points of connected devices in your car that will give real-time weather information to other people, because you are traveling in Fort Wayne, you know, on 69 at this moment in time, and this is the weather. I mean, you're going to be able to connect those. If you come close to another car, it's going to, obviously, there's that technology now. It's all these connected devices, and the cloud is what is managing all this. So again, it's getting to the point where it's Orwellian, right? There's a lot of technologies out there and movies that you've seen, and you go, that'll never happen. Now I'm starting to think, you know, that's going to happen. There's going to be precogs. There's going to be people that are going to say, hey, you were going to commit this crime, right, in the future. I'm going, I was thinking about it, but I wasn't planning on doing it, right? But we're starting to get to that. It's a little scary. When I say cloud computing is arriving just in time, I'm not talking about you going out to the cloud. I'm talking about cloud technology, virtualization in your own data center, automation in your own data center. These are things that you are going to have to do in order to maintain, maybe not your jobs, in some cases your jobs, but maintain the validity of your data center in your organization, because there are competing forces for that outside. It's the Googles, the Amazons, and the other service providers out there. They're coming to say, why are you in the data center business? You're in the insurance business, right? Let us take care of that. If you're not able to add new technologies, whether it's storage, right, networking, applications, just in time, within minutes rather than hours, weeks, months, you're going to start to feel pressured to do something else. And, you know, that's really, this today is what we're trying to do, is just kind of give you a little bit of a peek into what is possible. So.